Kentucky's matchup with Louisville this season could be the best game in all of college basketball. We're going to tell you why. We're going to talk about the matchups, and we're going to tell you why we think Kentucky will end up winning this game. That's the conversation on today's episode of the Wildcats Today Podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak, publisher over at Kentucky Wildcats on SI. Joined, as always, by Carson Nash. Carson, we get to talk about our favorite topic, which is making fun of Louisville a little bit, but it's going to be a good game. Fun conversations today. Are you excited to break this matchup down?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited. This should be a top 10 matchup. Both teams, this is the best Louisville's been since probably like 2013. So I'm excited for this one. It's about time the rivalry comes back because they've been lacking on their end of their side.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I wrote an article about that today, about this exact thing we're going to talk about, why I think this could be one of the best matchups in college basketball this season. But you and I have said this before, Carson. This Kentucky-Louisville rivalry is a really good rivalry in college basketball. But once Ricky P was out at Louisville, it's just straight downhill. I mean, straight downhill. And last year, it was better. It was better. It was a good game. Louisville came into town and put up a good fight. It took Lamont Butler having a career night for Kentucky to win that one in front of an Electric Rupp Arena crowd. But this year, this is going to have that feeling again. And Carson, I told you a minute ago on the phone, John Rothstein is pushing hard, his game of the year being St. John's versus UConn. That's going to be a great basketball game. Carson and I are not going to convince you why it's not. But I think that this matchup within the state lines of the Bluegrass State is going to be good, like we said, for the first time in a long time. And it's going to bring viewership back to this game from folks outside of this great state.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for that. You know, hopefully Louisville fans will actually fill up at least the lower bowl, because I know last time we were there, it was pretty much a sea of blue.
Well, I mean, we have pulled up. I will tell you, I'm going to lecture the Louisville fans. Hopefully we have some Louisville fans here that are going to hate us in about half an hour, which is a good chance of that if you don't already. But what I was going to say is I'm almost like, y'all got to be better, man. Like, looking at the attendance numbers last year, and this isn't even really a Kentucky versus Louisville. Like, I mean, obviously Kentucky's numbers were substantially better, but fill up the arena, man. Y'all got a good coach, a good guy, a good basketball coach putting together good teams. I mean, dude, be better.
Who's bringing the fire? You know, he's out and about in Louisville trying to get the fans involved and everything. He wants to win there. So, you know, fill it up for him.
I've seen him walking around handing out free tickets. I mean, come on, man. Like, seriously, I mean, dude, be better for your coach. That's what I'll say for Louisville, and we'll see what happens. But to get into this game, Carson, the reason that we wanted to have this conversation today, there's been a lot floating around on social media about the freshman, Michael Brown Jr. for the Louisville Cardinals. Really, really, really good player, okay? You are not going to hear Carson and I sit here and try and tell you that he's not exceptional. But what's frustrated me about social media, and once again, obviously Carson and I joke about this, Andrew Stefaniak likes to fall into the rage bait at times, but the comparisons between Jasper Johnson and Michael Brown Jr. are frustrating me because Jasper is a great player. Michael Brown Jr. is a great player, okay? And you can compare him and contrast him. That's fine. I'm cool with that. But what frustrates me is the Louisville fans acting like Jasper Johnson's our best player, because he's not. I mean, Carson, like, we could give you an argument for why he's this maybe seventh, eighth player on this team. And I don't think that's in any way, shape, or form a crazy thing to say. So that's where this conversation between Carson and I for y'all is that's why we wanted to have it. And that's where my frustrations have come from. But Carson, tell us your thoughts, and go ahead and talk about Jasper too. You know, I watched about 25 minutes of that game yesterday. You watched the whole thing. What were your thoughts on Brown Jr. and then on our guy, Jasper Johnson? What did you see in that one?
Yeah, I mean, of course, Michael Brown Jr. stood out. I think he's a fantastic offensive player. He's got the upside. He's going to be a top 10 pick, in my opinion. He's a super shifty guard, can shoot it. He can do everything with the ball. But I also think the ball kind of gets stuck in his hand a little too much. He loves shooting that thing, and he looked pretty poor defensively. I'm not going to lie. He had one good block, but it was after he got toasted. So he didn't really stand in front of his guys much. I really thought that probably the best player on the team is probably Koa Pete that's going to Arizona. He's a monster. But I thought Jasper looked good. He also is not getting the opportunity that Mike Hell's getting, all the shot attempts. So, I mean, it's hard to judge off of that. And I said this to my dad and his brother yesterday. Who let Tommy Lloyd coach this team? Because their offense stinks. Like, the way they run the offense is terrible. So it was a little frustrating watching the game yesterday because it was a lot of young players making a lot of dumb mistakes, and it wasn't like a college basketball game for sure.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just had to say about that. What I'll say about Jasper is the film on him I've seen from this, there are things to clean up for sure. I'm not going to sit here and tell you he was perfect, but what there also were flashes of greatness. I mean, obviously the immediate thought goes to the James Harden step back and 1 3-pointer that was just nasty. But I think in a little glass case, that play shows you the type of player that Jasper Johnson can be. But the difference between him and Michael Brown Jr. is Jasper Johnson is not going to be getting this type of volume, even at Kentucky. He's obviously not getting it in Switzerland right now. He's not going to be getting it at Kentucky because, as we just said a moment ago, he's probably our 6th, 7th, 8th player on this roster. And when you can say that about a 5-star guard, it's a good problem to have. And that's one of the things Carson and I have talked about a lot. Kentucky has a lot of good problems. So Carson, I mean, I think I'm ready to get into the conversation between these two basketball teams. And Carson and I both today did a deep dive on Louisville's roster to get more accustomed than we already were about some of the new guys. But the one word before we kind of compare who we think will start for them and who we think will start for us, kind of do that comparison there. What stood out to me, Carson, when looking at their roster and doing a deep dive into it, is I just think our depth is much better than theirs is.
I don't even think it's remarkably close. Like, I think our depth just absolutely is like 10 times better than their depth. And that'll come into play during the game. I mean, they do have flashy players, but they only go 7 men, I think, that could actually make a substantial difference in any game. And I think anybody after that is not going to provide much for them at all. So for us, if you're going 12 deep, like Trent Noah's like your 12th guy, Colin Chandler's down there. Those guys could play substantial minutes for Louisville. So I think our depth absolutely outshines theirs.
And at the end of the day, this conversation to me is very simple and summed up in a few words. And it has to do with, I don't think their front court's very good. We did, Carson, 2-3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, have a Louisville fan. Wasn't really being rude, was genuinely just sharing his thoughts, which I appreciate that. I like hearing, other teams' fans' perspective on their team. Louisville fans, you're welcome to make fun of us or be rude, but we'd like to hear genuine thoughts on why you disagree or why you agree with things, so we can really try and deep dive into this matchup. But that front court, Carson, I don't think it's very good. I think that, Ali Khalifa, he's a good basketball player. But I think of our bigs, I think him and Reese Potter would have a go at it to be the 5th best big on our roster. That's the reality there. I think that Pryor is a good player. I like Pryor a lot. I am excited in a weird way to see what he's going to do in a full season. Obviously, he's coming off an injury as well. I'm excited to see what that kid can do because I think he's pretty good. And then Sandra Frew is the guy that I think for them is the wild card there. I think that he is the wild card there for the Louisville Cardinals. We watched the film on him. We talked about, yes, sometimes it looks a little one-dimensional to me. I think his film does, which is funny because literally the post about his film was talking about how it's not one-dimensional.
Yeah, I don't think I saw a single post move or a dribble on that whole film. It was just dunks.
Yeah. And Pryor, the start of the year last year, and it was only 7 games, but he only shot 37% in those games. He was a 44.7% shooter from the field in 23-24 and 46.7% in 21-22, but he only played 8 games that year.
It's never easy also to come off an ACL injury. So you never really know what you're getting out of that. Even with us with JQ, I know we're going to talk about it in a minute, but that's a big injury. Like that's something that they have to rehab and go through, and it's tough.
And I talk about it a lot. I mean, it's always a focus for me in fantasy football, and I know it's comparing apples to oranges, but the point is, players don't always come back looking like themselves after an ACL injury. And as you just said about Pryor, the same conversations we're going to have here in a minute about our guy JQ, who's coming off an ACL tear. And he's actually behind schedule a little bit, than Pryor, just because
Pryor hurt his earlier.
He only played 7 games, so he probably had it within the first month of the season, and so he's probably 2 months ahead, maybe 3 months ahead of JQ.
But JQ's younger, and younger people heal faster. So
yeah. Ask me about my back when I wake up every day. I agree with you on that. But I just their backcourt, Carson's good. Now, the one argument that I'll throw at you about their backcourt is, the Woolley, who's going to be their guy, is coming from a smaller school. It's Kennesaw State, right?
Yep.
Coming from a smaller school. Does that mean he's going to be bad? No, but it does mean he's got to come here and prove it at Louisville. He's got to come prove it in the ACC, which, in the ACC shouldn't be that hard. But in this game against an SEC team is going to be much more of a challenge. Then the other guys, you've got 2 other guys coming from bigger schools. You got the kid from Xavier. I think their backcourt is really good, but at the same time, our backcourt is also really good, and our backcourt's played more proven. I mean, Ortega always played in the SEC. Jalen Lowe has played in the ACC. We've got a backcourt that has been here. Aberdeen just won a national championship with Florida. We have a backcourt that is experienced players. So I think
if I played in better leagues.
Yeah. If I was ranking, now tell me if you disagree, Carson, you're welcome to. If I was ranking, just saying front court, back court overall, I would give Louisville the nod on the back court by a hair. And then I would give us the arrow in our direction in the front court by a wide margin. That would also give us the overall. I'm taking our roster over there. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I think the difference is Michael Brown's really Louisville's only true guard. Like all the other guards on their team are more 2 guards. Like Conwell's a 2 guard. Woolley's more of a 2 guard. He was very turnover prone last year. And then the kid from Virginia is a 2 guard. So I think Michael's really going to be the only one facilitating for them. And like I said, he kind of likes to hold the ball a little bit and show his own flair, which there's no problem with that because, he's a stud. So he should shoot the ball. But it's going to be interesting to see how they all play together.
But then also at what point, one thing that we'll see, either Pat Kelsey owes me an FU or I think he's wrong, but he's giving the keys to Michael Brown Jr. Great. Once again, elite player. I think he's going to be good in the pros. I'm a Michael Brown Jr. guy. I think he's a good player. I'm not knocking this kid at all. What I am saying is, at what point are we looking at Arkansas with Boogie Fland, where they weren't playing basketball? Boogie Fland was, and there were 4 other guys on the floor. And then at what point is Louisville a one-dimensional team where if you shut down Michael Brown Jr., you win the game? That's what's interesting to me. And I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. What I'm saying is going to
happen. There's no I in team, but there's an M and an E.
Yeah, exactly. There is. But that's a great point. But what I'm saying is if they play team basketball, I think Michael Brown Jr. is a great player to run this offense. If he plays me basketball, I think Louisville's not going to be as good as advertised. And that has to, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because, we've seen the videos. Kelsey is saying, you are our guy, which he is their guy. But Ortega always our guy, and everybody on our roster is going to eat. You know what I mean? Because we play team basketball. We move it around. We share it. We create open looks for one another. Yeah. Is Louisville going to do that? That's what's going to make or break it for them, I think.
I would give the slight edge to them, too, just offensively for sure. But I think our backcourt defensively blows them out of the water. I think they're going to struggle a little bit defensively. Like I said, Brown Jr. was getting beat off the dribble a lot. The kid from Virginia always struggled defensively. Woolley hadn't played in any big conference. I think Conwell will be decent at defense, but that's not his specialty. So I think defensively, our backcourt's a lot better.
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm sitting here, you look at this roster and I'm saying to myself, I mean, are we really, I mean, Wooly, like, have fun with Otega-Oweh, man. Good luck. Or Michael Brown Jr. I mean, when he's putting the ball on the ground and saying, and hitting the Marshawn Lynch run through a Powell's face, I don't know how they're going to stop Otega-Oweh getting to the freaking rim. And that's not even our entire arsenal of offense. I mean, that's just one part of our offense.
No, because it's not even like when the guards get beat that they have a big guy down there that's going to swat the stuff, because they don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think Fru's he's an okay shot blocker, but I mean,
but he provides no offensive spark for them other than lob dunks and maybe a transition dunk here and there.
Yeah, which, sure, those things get the crowd going, but at the same time, I just, and also on the Ali Khalifa, knowing the type of player he is, and he's played in the Mark Pope system. Of course, those that forgot that, he was at BYU at the final year before Pope came over to Kentucky. I don't understand what he's going to do for them. I don't get his fit there. Because I mean, I just don't get his fit with this team, honestly. I don't see him helping them a ton. I think he's a solid basketball player, but I don't see that working really well, Carson. I think Pryor and Fru are their main guys in the front court, but
he's going to get exposed defensively.
I agree.
Ali Khalifa was a bad defender at BYU, and now he lost all the weight, so he's going to get thrown around.
Yeah, and Hadley, I think that he is one of those solid. He is kind of a wannabe Mo D and like a smaller guy who gets rebounds. But I mean, once again, I mean, that dude. Okay, let's say we either have Mo D or we have Yelovich coming off the bench. I mean, good luck either which way, man.
He ain't going to be able to guard Yelovich shooting over top of him, and Mo D is like a better version of him.
Yeah, a better version of him, and I just don't. I think Louisville's a really good team, but I think, and I've said this, Carson and I have said this for 4 or 5 months now, they spend all their money on their backcourt. Okay, I'm sure that Fru was a little, I don't know what his NIL evaluation was, but I'm sure they spent a little bit to get Fru. But obviously they're giving Pryor money to come back. It's not like these guys aren't getting paid. What I'm saying is, it was very clear their offseason goals were going to get really, really good guards. And I think they did a pretty solid job at that. But at the same time, I just don't think that their front court will be able to hang with ours. And I don't think that their guards will be able to hang with I think that our guards defensively will have will have to have a good game, but their guards aren't as good defensively as ours. And I mean, now let's go ahead and just jump into this, Carson. How much does not having having Jaden Quaintance in this basketball game affect the Kentucky Wildcats?
Well, it's definitely going to affect it because, I mean, we all know he's going to be a top 10 pick in the next draft. He's an absolute superstar. That's like if Louisville didn't have Michael Brown Jr. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're losing a lottery pick in the game. So it definitely will affect it, but it wouldn't affect it as much as if Louisville lost Michael Brown Jr., in my opinion, because BG is better than all of their bigs. So I think Brandon Garrison will shore up that spot. And I think Malachi Moreno would be probably their second best big behind Pryor.
Yeah.
So
I literally forgot about Malachi Moreno. Excuse me. Ali Khalifa would be the 6th best big on our team, not the 5th. And once again, I think him and Potter could go blow for blow for that 6th spot. I mean, heck, if you want to throw Hawthorne in there, I'd take Hawthorne over Ali Khalifa. I mean, if you want to count him as part of our front court, I mean, he's obviously one of those guys that I don't think he even knows what he's going to be yet. But I'll tell you this, Carson, and you tell me about it. What I'm going to say, you give me your instant reaction. Okay? I don't think Jaden Quaintance plays in this game.
I agree with you. I don't think he plays, and I don't really care if he plays or not, because I think we still win without him, and I think I'd rather have him be healthy for the SEC slate anyways.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I agree with you. And at the end of the day, what people got to understand is Brandon Garrison, I think if he doesn't improve from last season, if he's okay, well, he's going to improve. Let's say he improves just a little bit, right? He just improves just a little bit. I think he's a top 15 center in college basketball. If he takes a big jump this offseason, which I think he is going to, the kid's dialed in, man. I think he's taking a big jump. I think he's a top 10 center in college basketball. and that's to combat with a top 3 center in college basketball. So, I mean, the drop-off is from, I think, a top 3 big in college hoops to a top 10 big in college hoops. Louisville fans are going to argue us tooth and nail saying Brandon Garrison sucks. I've seen that. But at the end of the day, that's not reality. If you think that's true, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
But also, the thing I'll tell you about Brandon Garrison is this. I mean, he wouldn't tell you this out loud.
He hates Louisville. He'll
tell you that out loud.
Yeah.
He'll tell you that out loud. Everyone on this team. I mean, Lowe's already throwing down the L. I mean, yeah, everybody. Mark Pope, I think he has a lot of respect for Kelsey, and that's vice versa. That goes both ways. But both these coaches want to win this game, and both of these coaches are making sure their teams want to win this game. They are making that very, 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 very clear. But when I look at this, when I think Brandon Garrison wants to play in this basketball game. Brandon Garrison, I mean, he's not going to tell you, man. You're not going to hear Brandon Garrison say, hey, I kind of hope JQ is not ready to go because I want to be. He's not going to say that. He doesn't think that. But he'd love the opportunity to come be center 1 against the Louisville Cardinals in the KFC Center.
And I tell you who would love to be center 2? Kentucky boy Malachi Moreno, because I know he doesn't like Louisville.
No, yeah. I'll tell you this, Louisville fans, if you hate us right now, you're going to hate Brandon Garrison. I mean, I already think you probably did a little bit from last year, but I mean, this year, you're going to hate him. I mean, just hate him. With the passion. He's going to be that guy that you just want him to go home at night and stub his toe. Like, I hope that guy stubs his toe tonight. He's the worst. You're going to hate him. And I have a feeling so are the bigs for Louisville. And that's whether or not JQ's in there. But if JQ's in there, you got a whole nother world of problems. And that is none of those guys can hold his jockstrap. Not a single player in that front court can hold Jaden Quainton's jockstrap. And at the end of the day, you could say, well, no guard in Kentucky's can hold Michael Brown's. The gap, I think, is a lot closer because I think that we are going to put heavy pressure to make sure he doesn't beat us, and you can't do that with our offense. You can't stop one player and stop this Kentucky offense.
Not to mention, we have so much depth, we can throw as many looks at you as we want, and your players are going to get tired because you only got 7 guys that can really impact the game.
Yeah.
I mean, you go down our list, like we didn't even talk about Cam Williams, who's projected to be a first-round top 20 draft pick. We got Denzel Aberdeen, who's better than everybody on your bench. We got Yelovich coming off the bench. Colin Chandler, year 2. Trent Noah, Jalen Lowe said he's the best shooter he's ever seen today. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you just keep naming players and running down the list. And we just have tons more depth than they do.
Yeah, I mean, the more we talk about this, Carson, the more I convince myself that this is going to be, the home game plus a rivalry, just like Kentucky started up a few points last year, because that's just the reality of it. Louisville's going to have that this year. But I think Kentucky wins this basketball game. We're not saying Louisville's a bad team. We're not sitting here trying to convince you that EKU is going to beat Louisville. I mean, it's not 2020. We're not trying to convince you that. We're trying to convince you that a top 10 team is going to beat Louisville. And I don't. And once again, we say this is a home game. I don't know, man. I don't know if it's going to be a home game. I mean, Carson Nash will be there, won't you?
I'll be there.
Yeah.
Even though I'm in the works on trying to move back to Lex, because, the best thing that happened to Louisville was the road that leads to Lexington. So I'll still be there.
New goal for this week is to get that on a T-shirt. Say that one more time. Say that just how you said it again.
The best thing from Louisville is the road that leads to Lexington.
All roads lead to Lexington, though. You got to remember that. All roads. But I want that on a T-shirt really bad. That's awesome. That's great. That made my day. So that's the reality. They're now. I think Wooley's the guy. Obviously, they're kid from Virginia and they're kid from Xavier. They're good players. They've played some higher level basketball. But Wooley's got a lot to prove, and they're acting like he's their guy. I mean, how many times have we seen dudes and I'm average 19 points a game at a smaller school come to the SEC or a power conference and not be as good as they were advertised? It happens all the time. But
look at the top 10 on the transfer portal rankings last year, and like none of those guys actually ended up panning out, really.
Yeah. I mean,
mean, the Kansas State guy, I forget his name, that came from Illinois. Like, what happened? Coleman Hawkins. Like, what happened?
He was okay, but that's the point. Now, but at least he came from a bigger school. He just wasn't as good. As
he even had. He was in Big Ten, not playing against the Center Colonels.
Yeah. Oh boy. I want to pull up here. Okay, I got it. I got the transfer list. Okay, let's go to 2024 just to try and prove a point here. Richmond ended up being good at St. John's, didn't he? He was real good player.
He was pretty good. I wouldn't say he was great.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, like here's well, I don't think you can throw Nelly Davis in there because FAU went to a freaking Final Four.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'd throw Nelly Davis in there because he played some high level basketball.
But everyone knew his efficiency problems coming in and that hurt Arkansas.
Yeah. But I mean, you can look at some of these names that come from there are some ones that have worked out. Chaz Lanier is a great example. He was really good at Tennessee last year. There are these examples of these players coming from some of the smaller schools. But then, I think a great example is Mahaney, who was terrible at UConn last year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, he played in the whatever WAC or the WCC where Gonzaga plays. I mean, they play Gonzaga, but then that's really the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
These things happen every single season. We see players come from smaller schools and just not pan out at their new school. Doesn't always happen that way, but it does happen that way a good amount. Then there's a good one. Haggerty came from Tulsa, but he also started at a good school, didn't he? If I remember correctly, Haggerty.
Well, the one he went to was Memphis, and then he transferred again from Memphis. Where did he end up?
Kansas State.
I'm
just trying to remember.
Kansas State's the all-check team. They just paying people that want $4 million that aren't even that good.
Yeah, they are the Ole Miss football of college basketball. If you are in the transfer portal, we want you bad. Don't care how good you are. Couldn't care less. But you come
shoot 34% on.
And Mark Soup's still going to come kick your ass in Oxford. Boom. Because he's motivated. He's motivated. So, I mean, I think that's kind of my thoughts. Louisville fans that are here, seriously, I want to hear people's thoughts. Leave in the comments. Tell us why you disagree with us. Don't call us idiots. I mean, you can. That's kind of funny. But I'm saying call us idiots, say idiots, period, and then let us know why. I want to know why. I want to know why Louisville fans. I mean, I've heard some.
Most of them just call you idiots because they don't have any other rebuttal. They can't actually explain why they think they're going to win.
It's a good point. Well, yeah. And once again, Louisville fans care more about the downfall of Kentucky than they do actually winning basketball games.
Mm-hmm.
And now maybe that I don't know. Was that the case back when they were actually good? I don't remember much. We were young, but when they've sucked, they care more about Kentucky losing than them winning basketball games, which is honestly understandable because they won 3. So kind of get it. But
I mean, their best coach of all time loves us more. I mean, they're just a little salty about that.
I would be too. I would be as well. And what was his greatest mistake he ever made, Carson? Mr. Ricky Pease.
There was a couple, but I think probably leave it for the Celtics.
How many natties would Kentucky have? We talked about this on Saturday.
Well, yeah, he'd be the best college basketball coach of all time. He'd be better than Coach K for sure, no doubt in my mind.
If he had stayed at Kentucky that whole time, I think that we'd have another 2 or 3. I think you can argue a wall on that one. Seriously, that. There's no debate how good of a coach Rick Pitino is. I mean, he just took a program. They'll be a top 5 team this year. I mean, he got there. They weren't the great. It's what he does. His name rebuilds a program, and it's pretty damn impressive.
100%.
So, any other thoughts on this matchup, Carson?
No, that's all I got.
Yeah, of course. I think the Cats win this one. Let us know in the comments, Kentucky fans. How do you see this one going? Do you think we blow the doors off of them? Do you think it's close? How do you see this game going? Who's going to be kind of the star of this game? And I'll ask you a question right now, Carson. Nash, this game it's November what?
11th, I think.
11th. Okay, sure. Who's the MVP of this game for the Kentucky Wildcats?
The MVP of this game is going to be. I think I want it to be Low so bad because they just trash on Low.
They do trash Low.
But I think it'll be Mo Diabate because he's going to have Hadley in hell.
Yeah, or any other of those.
Or any of them. Any of them.
Yeah. That's going to be a welcome to the SEC moment. The ones that they're going to get one welcome to the SEC moment, and it's going to be dealing with Mo Diabate. I mean, like, if you were like, we'll give you $10,000 to play one pickup game to 11 against Mo Diabate, you're leaving with a broken bone or two. I don't know if I'd want to take it. I mean, hell, the hospital bills you'd be paying, you're going to lose all the money you won anyway. I mean, my goodness. I mean, that dude is an absolute beast.
And don't even get me started if JQ's healthy. Good Lord. Good luck with that.
I think we win a 2-3 possession game without JQ. I think we win by a larger margin if JQ's playing and is healthy. If JQ plays 4 minutes, I'm not going to. But, I mean, if he's healthy, I think it's a difference maker. Mm-hmm. So that's our thoughts. That's why we thought we wanted to talk about this today, knowing what was all this conversation about Michael Brown Jr. and Jasper and all that. We wanted to remind people that you're comparing your best player to our 6th, 7th, 8th player. So let's chill out on that. If you want to start comparing Michael Brown Jr. to Jaden Quaintance or Otega Oweh, give us a phone call. We can have a conversation. But comparing him to Jasper, who I still think is going to be a good NBA player one day, is not the comparison to be making.
Like you said to me on the phone, NBA upside doesn't always translate to wins.
Yes, exactly. Talked to John Calipari about that his last handful of years at Kentucky in the NCAA tournament. That is a fact. So that's our thoughts on this game. Louisville fans, tell us why you think we're idiots. Kentucky fans, tell us what you think. Agree, disagree. We're curious to hear what everyone has to say. So want to hear what everyone has to say about that. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't. We'd really appreciate that. We're in the talks about a conversation for Thursday. I don't want to, in case we change our mind, I don't want to spoil it, but we got a fun one coming on Thursday, so be prepared for that. That'll also be 4th of July Eve, which is going to be a big day because 4th of July is my favorite day of the year. Carson, do you have anything against that statement?
No. They blew a 13 colony lead. That's all I got to say.
They did. Yeah, that's for sure. So that is our thoughts. Hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Monday, and we will see you next time on Thursday right here on the Wildcats Today Podcast.